It's time to fire this thing up.
So John, why are we repowering this boat?
Well, even though we put a brand new motor on this classic 1966 20-foot Bertram Moppy project boat just a little over a year ago, I've committed the engine and all the rigging to Charity Bird, so we got to act like it's not even here.
Well, what would you like to repower the boat with?
Well, you remember we were down at the Miami International Boat Show, and we were looking at those Yamaha 4-strokes.
Right.
A lot of people today in pleasure boating are considering these 4-stroke engines, and I was really thinking, hey, it's time that we get some of our project boats with some 4-strokes on so that we're kind of fair to everybody.
Right,
you know? And what I wanted to kind of get into is I wanted to take a look at some different horsepower ranges, because you have horsepower options, you know, for the same boat. And good deal you made it. Hi, I'm John Graviscus. This is my brother-in-law, Bert Dell, and it's great to have you back on our classic 1966 20-foot Bertram Moppy project boat. And not only are we going to kind of do, you know, Goldilocks and the Three Bears type of, you know, because there's usually about 3 different engine choices in horsepower categories. Right. But we're going to zero in on a motor, we're going to repower this craft, and I want to take a look at some of the new technology, especially with gauges and with rigging and all that. It's going to be very exciting, okay, if you're into 4-stroke. And in fact, here's just a little sampling. Now today's show is also going to be jam-packed full of tips and information like always. And speaking of tips, let's get into our first one with an expert guest in the marine industry, and he's going to be teaching us all better ways to make our boat ship shape. Take a look at that clean spot on the vinyl T-top shade that used to be on my Boston Whaler. Hey, who we have on the program is Ole Jensch from Flitz, and I got to tell you about a product that he turned me onto that is just blowing me away. Okay, this is your new cleaner to get rid of the mold and mildew stains for Flitz. And Ole, the reason we replaced our shade is we tried bleach, we tried everything. You can clean mold off, but the stain, that black stain left behind, is almost impossible to get, yet your product in a matter of moments transformed this. Okay, and I know a lot of people have vinyl cushions, a lot of people have different areas on the boat that have mold and mildew stains on it. What is in this product that's so unlike bleach?
Well, this is a plant-based product. Number one, makes it very green friendly, but you can use it and spray it on anything and it won't harm anything. But it works like with enzymes, and the enzymes actually eat at the mold and mildew stain. Plus even red wine stains, if you ever spilled it on your boat, get on your vinyl, it's very hard to get out. This will actually take that off.
Fantastic. Now, how about if we do this? Let's put a tape line on this bow cushion, original from the Boston Whaler, and let's clean half of it with the product, and let's show how well it works.
Great.
But what I did, Ole, is I had to replace my vinyl cushions. I didn't think I could ever get this clean again. And I want to talk about, after you clean your vinyl, or if you have brand new vinyl like me, how do you protect it from ever turning this way in the first place?
Number one, you want to use something that's non-silicone, which is definitely our product, because we sell this even for body shops. It's that popular. The best thing about this is it has an SPF 50 in it, which gives you the highest rated sunblock and UV protectant.
Okay, so this is called the Flitz Powerful UV Protectant. Will it keep our vinyl, will it keep it supple? Because that's a big thing in boating. You don't want it to crack. Will it stay soft and supple using your product?
It'll make it soft and supple, but at the same time, it won't make it that slippery, so you don't have to worry about any problems.
Ole, I know that your product line is available nationwide pretty much anywhere, okay? But this is brand new. It might not be through the distribution chain, and people at home might have the same problem, and they need it now. How could they get it?
Go to flitz.com. You can actually order it on flitz.com, or if you check on flitz.com, you can check with the nearest retailer, or ask your retailer to order it for you. Also, you can check with West Marine in the future.
Take a look at the bow cushion. This is before, okay? Here's after. It comes highly recommended, guys. Thanks so much, Ole.
Thank you.
ShipShape TV, the global leader in boat improvement, is being brought to you in part by Sunbrella Marine Beautiful Fabrics. For above and below deck, Sunbrella, we live to be on the water. By Boat Outfitters, your source for replacement hardware, custom king starboard doors, tackle centers, and more. Need it? They'll build it. Visit BoatOutfitters.com to update or customize your boat today. And finally, made possible by Yamaha. Reliability starts here.
Welcome back. This is a real working 28-acre boatyard / boat building facility residing in Stuart, Florida. It's ShipShape TV's home base. Ideally located, the complex is situated on the shores of the Okeechobee Waterway, which happens to connect the Atlantic Ocean to the Gulf of Mexico. Now, once again, here's the founder and host of ShipShape TV, John Grabiscus.
Thanks, Buck. I'm very excited. We need a new outboard engine for our classic 1966 20-foot Bertram Moppi, and welcome back. I've been doing a lot of research, especially with my locale, being down here in South Florida with the saltwater, on what brand of engine is kind of gaining or has the largest market share. And I found out that Yamaha has the dominant market share in saltwater with larger horsepower engines. And where we've landed now is at Palm Beach Outboards. This is my local Yamaha dealership, okay, in town. And who we have on the program is Russ Lichter, and Russ is one of the owners. And apparently, Russ, you and your partner Mark have been in the marine industry doing repowers for over 28 years.
That's correct.
Okay, you got a little bit of experience, and you've helped a lot of people in South Florida get a really good engine on their boat. I see that we have some engines back behind us. What would a potential candidate for a 20-footer be horsepower-wise? What do we have?
Well, we got the F-150.
Right.
We've got the F-175, and we've got the F-200.
Okay. When somebody does a repower, where do you try to steer them? Okay, because any of these engines would work. Okay, and I know there's a price difference between the different horsepowers. Okay. Should they go with a lower price engine, lower horsepower, or might they go with a larger engine with larger horsepower, and what's the reasoning? What do you tell people?
We tell people the same thing. Use the maximum amount of horsepower that your boat will allow.
Why do you want to do that? You're going to spend more money for the larger horsepower engine. Why do you do that?
You'll spend a little bit more money, but not much. It's actually negligible. But we're talking as far as you want the maximum amount of horsepower based on you could pull the throttle back a little bit on the 200 as opposed to the 150, and the gas savings would be more.
Okay, now also doing my research though, I found out that this Yamaha 150, this is like the workhorse, man.
It is.
In the marine industry. It is a really, really popular engine. You're telling me and everybody to maybe go with a higher horsepower engine. What does this offer me? What can I get? And I'm talking the bells and whistles. Could I get like digital electronic controls with a 150? Could I get like the really cool stuff that's now available in the marine industry?
On the 150, you cannot. You cannot get the digital controls.
Okay, so the 150, this is for manual control.
That is correct, manual control.
I currently have a manual control. Okay, I got to absolutely do that. But there's also this digital electronic control. What is that? What's the benefit?
Well, digital electronic control is a fly-by-wire system where it's instantaneous throttle response. You have a wire instead of two cables going back to the motor, and it reads the shift box throughout the full range.
This is cool. Let me explain this to people. Okay, guys, when you have a manual control and you go to put that boat into forward, there's a little bit of lag time with the cables, okay? This digital electronic control, and I've got friends with it, okay? You put that boat in gear, it's instantaneous. It's really, really cool. So you're telling me the 150 is manual?
It is manual.
Manual controls. The 175, is that manual?
It is.
Okay. The 200, could that be manual?
It can be manual and it could be DEC.
Okay. The benefits of that are immense. We've already explained that. Let's get into some of the different control options. What is this example right here,
Well,
Russ?
here we've got the 704 mechanical controller.
Okay.
Top mount. We've got a top mount digital electronic controller.
Okay.
We've got a concealed side mount.
That's what I have. I
is
have a
correct.
side mount control. Man, I really love how short that handle is. That is That's really, really awesome. And this works with DEC, the digital electronic control. I'll get instantaneous response.
Throughout the RPM range, yes.
What's this one?
That's for a dual DEC or twin motors.
You guys repower boats with single engines? Do you repower boats with twin engines and triples
We do.
and quads and
Upper station.
multi-stations?
That is correct.
I want to get into the gauges on a repower. What are my choices? Could I use my current gauges, or could I go out there and get aftermarket gauges and use it? Would it be compatible?
Yes, it'll be compatible on all 3 engines.
Russ, I've been on a lot of my friends' boats that have Yamahas,
Mm-hmm.
and their gauges, man, Yamaha gauges are off the charts.
That they are, yes.
Great. What are the different selections that you have in Yamaha gauges?
Well, the selections we have here, these are round command link gauges.
Right.
These are square command link gauges. And right there is the Mac Daddy, which is a display kit.
Get out of here. What's this
And that
all
could be
about?
used on a single, a double, or even a triple. or
Okay,
even a quad.
how does this is one gauge that goes
One
into the
gauge,
boat?
all the information here in a color display on this screen.
What's some of the information I could gather from the screen?
Anything from your fuel tank levels to your tachometers to your speed to your fuel burn, you name it, it's there. Actually, this gauge could even be used, say you have a carbon fiber dashboard. You could program it to where the screen will show when you light it up a carbon fiber dashboard.
Get out of here. Or you know, maybe I could put a picture of my family
You could put a picture of your family
on the screen. This is like a computer. I could put a picture of my family on it. I could, you know, my biggest fish, you know, kind of thing. Man,
you wanna put on.
that is really cool. I think I like that direction. Now, I know, just like me, I'm at my local Yamaha dealership here in Palm Beach County, but somebody at home, okay, if they wanted to repower with Yamaha, how could they find their local Yamaha repower center? How do they do that?
Just go to YamahaOutboards.com, work through the website, and you can find your local dealer.
Russ, this is fantastic. Thank you so much. Right now, guys, we need to take a very short time out, but keep it right here because when we come back, we're going to be in Palm Beach Outboards Rigging Center. Mark is an expert. He is going to lead us through the conversion of this boat. It's going to be very, very exciting, and we'll cover it right after this.
Stay the course. ShipShape TV and its host, John Graviscus, will be back in a flash.
Welcome back. Where we're now at is in Palm Beach Outboards' extremely large rigging shop, and who we now have on the program is Mark Metaliano, and Mark is a partner with Russ, and you kind of oversee all of the repowers here at the company. Together, you've been doing this for over 28 years.
Yep.
You're one of the experts in the world kind of specializing on repowers. And where would we begin? How do we do the conversion from what we currently have to bringing on this new F200? Because that's what I've decided to go with.
Okay, yeah, John, when the boat shows up here, we will start by taking all of your older components off that we're not going to reuse. Box them up, set them aside.
So all the gauges come out of the boat?
Yeah, everything that we're not
the rigging, the harness comes
Right.
out of the boat, the engine comes
control
off.
cables.
I'm going to be donating this to charity.
Right.
Okay. But when you're doing a repower, and again, I selected this new Yamaha F200, do you start at the engine? Do you put the engine on first and then do everything else? Or how do professional boat riggers, how do you go about your task?
Well, it's personal preference, but I like to start in the middle, basically with the wire harness.
Okay, explain that. I've got what's called manual controls. That means I have a throttle and shift cable in my rigging tube, okay,
Right.
or up underneath my
From
gunnel.
the front to the back, you have a control cable.
Right.
We're going to take all that out, and we're going to replace that with digital electronic controls.
That's what this is right here. So I'm not going to have cables anymore. I'm just going to have one
Main
pretty
wire
much
harness.
wire going up
That's it.
there. Man, this is going to be really cool. So you start at the middle, and then what do you do?
Basically, we'll move to the forward section and work with the dash and the control box.
I have a side mount binnacle, or I had a side mount binnacle on the boat, and this is the new binnacle. Is this kind of a very easy remove and replace, or might there be some modifications?
Yes, sometimes we have to make a plate, modify where it's going to go, but generally we can make it fit without any major modifications.
Here's kind of my issue. With the repower, I went from a dash that has multiple openings for gauges, round
Right,
gauges,
right.
okay? And your partner, Russ, kind of sold me in on this single function display, and I hear it's just off the charts cool.
Yeah.
Okay, how are we going to attack that dash? We've got to either, what, glass it in or what?
Well, John, I can custom make a dash panel that's already cut out for the Command Link Plus display.
Really?
And
What material would you make it out of?
out of starboard.
Okay.
And it would contour to the dash you have now.
Do you have any choices in color?
Yeah, it's pretty much black and white is what I predominantly use.
Those are popular
colors. You can get different colors.
I know that we're going to need to put in a new ignition, okay, into the boat.
Right.
Now, you wait until the end of the repower to bring in the motor. Why?
Basically, I just want to keep it from getting dinged, scratched. I don't need it until the end.
I was told that the whole pattern on the new engine is exactly the same. This is kind of interchangeable. No matter what brand you're going from or to, that
Yeah.
whole pattern is standard, correct?
Pretty much standard, yeah.
Now, you know a lot about this engine, okay?
Right.
And I really want to get into how powerful of a motor this F200 is. And guys, how an engine runs is with spark, fuel, and air.
Right.
Okay? An engine has to breathe. How is this particular motor that we're going with, how is it set up for breathing?
This engine has a dual overhead cam and 4 valves per cylinder, which is a total of 16 valves.
Okay, so it's a 4-cylinder motor. We've
Right.
got 16 valves.
Right.
And how does that help it breathe? And what's the benefit of breath in an engine? Does it give you more power?
Yeah, the better you can make it breathe, the more power you're going to get out of it.
Okay. So how do these valves work? And is it working with intake? Is it working with exhaust or both?
You have one camshaft for the intake valves, and you have another camshaft for the exhaust valves.
And once the repower is done, and I'm out there and I'm doing the break-in, how long do I run the boat before I bring it back here and for you to do that first initial service?
You have a 20-hour break-in period.
Okay. And what's the big saying that Yamaha has?
Maintenance matters.
Okay, how
and it
often,
really does.
It really does. How often do I need to bring the boat back? Because I'm not burning oil anymore, guys. I'm not burning 2-stroke oil.
No.
There's a 4-stroke
Right.
motor. How often do I have to replace the 4-stroke oil?
Every 100 hours. Your gauge is actually set up to let you know when you've reached 100 hours.
Okay. Now, Mark, you're down here in the Mecca of South Florida, the boating hub of the United States, and the National Marine Manufacturers Association, or the NMMA, they're saying that the average age of a boat today is like 16, 17 years old. Okay, there are a lot of guys in saltwater that need to repower. If somebody wanted to get a hold of you, how do they do that?
It's very easy. Just go to palmbeachoutboards.com.
From the start of your outboard until you return to the dock, make sure your boating experience is always fun and enjoyable by remembering that maintenance matters. Presented by Yamaha.
Welcome back. Just before the break, I was instructed that after I break my new Yamaha F200 in for a 20-hour period, that I need to take it back to the dealership. And who we now have on the program is David Mueller. David is an expert over at Yamaha, and you head up kind of the maintenance matters corner,
Correct.
if you would. And what do they do at the dealership after that 20-hour kind of break-in period?
After you complete the 10-hour break-in period, bring it back to the dealer at the 20-hour mark, and what they do is they take a look to make sure that the installation has gone correctly, that all the connections are good and tight, and they also take a close look at the lubricants inside the engine to make sure that everything is going the way it should.
I was also told to change my oil out every 100 hours, and I can either do that myself or I can take it to the dealership.
That's correct.
Let's get into the filtration system on the Yamaha F200. What is the micron level here? What are we using?
What we recommend is a 10 micron filter in advance of the engine. It's a blue spin-on style filter. 10 microns is 1/20th of a human hair, so it's capturing some real small particles, and that gets the debris out of your gasoline before it gets to the engine.
Okay, I want to help everybody at home get better resale value for their boat. There is a fact that the average boater will buy 5.5 boats in his lifetime. It's called two-foot-itis. You know, you start off small and you get bigger. How can we maximize our resale value for our boat and our engine? And also, how can we avoid maybe some major problems mechanically with that engine, and I really want to get into your expertise, the maintenance.
As with Yamaha outboards and really any manufacturer's outboards out there, they're going to provide charts. We provide charts that tell you what to do and when to do it, how to do it, and you need to access that information and either you do it or make sure your dealer does it and stay on par with that.
And then guys, if you keep those records and you're showing it to a buyer, okay, you are going to get a higher resale value.
Yep.
You're going to say, hey, this guy really took care of it.
Yep.
And all of that. Well, thank you, David.
ShipShape TV will be right back. That's right, our project today is pretty much complete, which means we're now back on the water with John.
So John, here we are. We finished up the repower on your 1966 custom Bertram Moppy, 20-footer, beautiful boat, by the way. What do you think?
You know, the Yamaha F200, I got to tell you guys, I cannot believe how quiet it is and the performance that we're getting out of this boat. We're just starting the break-in period. And this Command Link Plus single gauge, I cannot believe, if you take a look at it, it tells you your speed, it tells you how much fuel you have, it tells you your RPMs. It's all right there, and it's so, I mean, I'm in the direct sunlight, and I can read this thing.
Right.
This is absolutely fantastic. And I've done repowers, guys, for over 20 years, and not only am I satisfied, I'm telling you, this one's at the top of the chart. So we need to thank you, sir, Frank Wilhelm, along with Dale Barnes from Yamaha. We also need to thank David Mueller. We had Palm Beach Outboards on the program, Russ Lichter, along with Mark Metalliano, their staff, all the guest experts in the marine industry, but most importantly, that's right, we've got to thank you at home. Thank you so much for spending the last half hour with us right here on the magnificent water's edge for the last half hour, but our time is all used out. So how about if we do this? How about if we kind of work out a little deal? Let's all get out there and make our boat ship shape, okay? See you next time. I'm John Graviscus, Frank Wilhelm, David Mueller. Guys, come on, let's go boating. Okay, hang on.
Closed captioning for ShipShape TV has been made possible by Marine 31 Boat Waxes, Cleaners, and Polishes. At Marine 31, quality and value stand above all else. Professional results are only a few simple steps away. Marine 31, for the captain that demands the best for their boat.